What is going on, guys? Today I'm going to be sharing with you how to fake a light source from a lighthouse here in Photoshop. So let's get into it. What's going on, guys? My name is Brendan from Outbound Media, and you can find me on Instagram at Burnwills. Before I get started, I just wanted to let anyone who's new here know that I make new Photoshop tutorials every single Wednesday. So if that's something you'd be into, make sure to hit that subscribe button. So today I'm going to be sharing with you how to fake a light source and create light beams coming from a lighthouse here in Photoshop. So the first thing that I do when I want to create a light source is I want to fill the lighthouse with light. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer. Then I'm just going to pick a color. Now the color is going to depend on what color you want the lighthouse light to be, but for the most part I kind of want mine to be more near the white end. But maybe like a little bit of orange. So as you can see, I've just picked a really light orange, and I'm just going to grab my brush tool and make a soft brush about the size of my lighthouse. Now I'm just going to make sure my flow and opacity is at 100%, and I'm just going to press once there. And now I'm going to bring down my slider, and I'm going to go to white, and then just size down my brush a little bit, and then click again. Now I got this sort of deal going on. So what I can do now is change my blending mode from normal down to linear dodge add. And now from there I can get my fill, and I can just adjust my fill to where I like the look of the lighthouse, I guess. So that is looking pretty good to me. So you can just press enter. And if you want to adjust the size or anything like that, you don't have to go back and redo it. What you can do is you can just press V, and you can just adjust where the light is sort of spreading out to. So I might boost this up just a little bit more so you can't see little bars and things like that. And that looks awesome right there. So just from that was only two little brushes, and it already looks like we have a light coming out of our lighthouse. It looks like our lighthouse is actually working. Now if you want to go the extra mile and create some light beams, you can also do that. So how to create light beams is also quite easy, but a little bit more work. Emphasis on the little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our lasso tool and make sure you have your polygonal lasso tool selected. So what we're going to do, it doesn't matter what side you start on, but we're just going to make a beam of light that comes out here in a triangle with its center point coming from our lighthouse. So I'm just going to click right in the center, and I'm going to drag out to about here. It's up to you what the angle of your light beam is going to be like, but I am just going to do something like this. There's no right or wrong. Now with our marching ants just marching around our selection, we can click our curves adjustment layer. And now when we adjust our curves, it'll only affect that one little area. So as you see, our selection got moved onto the layer mask of our curves. So we're going to be doing this in 3 stages. So we're going to do an outer light, a center light, and then a middle light, if that makes sense. So each one's going to get progressively brighter. So this one, I'm probably going to put right around here, right around this brightness on my curves. Now I should also mention, if you want to change the color of the light, you can also do that by going through your color channels. So say I wanted to make it a little bit more warm, I could bring down the yellow and then go to my red channel and bring up the red. And then now it sort of has a bit more of a warm, tungsten-y looking glow to it. But anyways, I'm not going to be doing that for this image, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. Now once you have this sort of triangle light thing made with your curves, now what we want to do is blur it so it's not such a harsh edge. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to filter, blur, and then Gaussian blur. So the blur, you don't want to go so crazy that you can't even see it, but you also don't want to go too little that it just is so minimal that you still see the edges. So what we want, our goal is to get rid of those harsh edges so it just sort of fades. It looks like it's a little bit of a little light beam fading out into the atmosphere. I don't know. Something like that works for me. So 61.9 is what I'm setting at, but again, it's totally up to you. So I'm just going to click OK. Now we're going to go and do the exact same thing. So I'm going to, with my polygonal lasso tool selected, I'm just going to click right in the center, and now I'm going to go out a little bit less than my biggest light beam, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. Now I'm going to get my curves adjustment tool, and I'm going to make this one just a little bit brighter. Perfect. Now I'm going to blur it, add a Gaussian blur to it, and maybe I'll add a little bit less of a blur this time. Something like that. Awesome. And now I'm going to do this one more time Again, select your polygonal lasso tool, click in the center of your lighthouse, go out a little bit less than your second light beam, and now finish it off again. Curves adjustment layer, and I'm going to bring this one up the most, so it's going to be super bright, and then again add a Gaussian blur to it, and I'm going to maybe leave it somewhere right around here. Okay, so that looks pretty awesome. But as you might be able to tell, is we can see our individual, like we can see the line of the big one and the center one, then our little one. So we kind of want to blend that a little. So what we can do is just click on our layer mask, grab our brush tool, make sure we have a nice soft brush selected so our hardness is at 0. And with black selected, we're just going to paint over the edge of each curve here. So it'll just, basically all we're doing is just fading out the edge of our selection so it isn't so harsh. Now you can also, if you mess up or anything, you can also just add some back. It's not a big deal. So that looks pretty good to me. So now I'm just going to shift click all my curves layers and press Command G to group all my layers, and now I'll just make this left light beam, and now I'm just going to press Command J to duplicate that group, and then I'm going to name this one right light beam, and now I can press Command T and then right click and then flip horizontal. So now I can put one on the other side without all the work that we just did with creating our individual light beams. So that looks good there. Now what we can do is, since we have each of them in our group and they're the exact same, we can, just by using our group, we can sort of move around and adjust however we see fit. So maybe I'll angle this one up a little bit and angle my left one down just a little to give the illusion that the light is actually spinning around the lighthouse. Something like that. So that is pretty much it, guys. That is how you fake a light source from a lighthouse in Photoshop. So what we went over today is how to create our fake light source from the center of our lighthouse with just 2 simple brushes and changing our blending mode to linear dodge add, and then just adjusting a fill accordingly. Then we learned how to create our light beams using our polygonal lasso tool and curves, and then duplicating it to make our lives a little bit easier, putting it to the other side, and then adjusting them to put them at the right angles to suit the needs of our image. If this tutorial helped you, I would love if you hit that like button and maybe even consider subscribing. I make new Photoshop tutorials every single Wednesday. If you want to explore more of my work, make sure to check out my Instagram at Burnwills, or you can check out my website at outboundmedia.net. Again, my name is Brendan from Outbound Media, and I hope to see you back here next Wednesday for another new Photoshop tutorial. See you then.